Welcome to the 11th special edition of the T-ROH show. We've got some issues that we want to deal with here today. And just so we can set the record straight and let people understand that there's nothing nefarious going on here. We've had some people come in to the ANU. One was David Williams, and the other one was let me see if I can find his name again. Stephen Derek Biacci. Apparently, he was the chairman of the ANU. And there's a specific creed that politicians go by in order to try to make somebody feel or look guilty of something that hasn't happened. They come up with half the truth, and then they don't come up with the rest of it. And when they do, that's worse than a full lie, because you're trying to make somebody look guilty of something that didn't actually happen because you didn't bring out the rest of the evidence. Prosecutors actually get, for all their so-called immunities, if they withhold evidence, those are called felonies. And prosecutors get in a lot of trouble for that. They lose their office for hiding evidence. In other words, the rest of it in order to get a conviction and make somebody look guilty. Happens a lot. But so what we want to do is we want to bring out some things that here's some so-called truths, but they miss the rest of the story, or people don't go look it up. So here's some of it. All right, here's some of this international public notice, chain of title, ROH trust. It says anointed ruler of the reign of the heavens, international notice. Then there's a little thing that says Keith has labeled himself as the anointed ruler of the reign of the heavens. Okay? Keith has labeled himself as the anointed ruler, obviously for the reign of the heavens. That's not even close to truth. That is an actual full lie. But let's take a look at the evidence. Now, here's the Reign of the Heavens profile that was sent over to the Bureau at The Hague here. And there it is right there. Does that name say Keith right there? Right here? That name does not say Keith. So that's an out and outright lie.
It doesn't look like Keith to me.
No, that's not a Keith. That name is the Paleo-Hebrew name for Yahushua. He was the anointed ruler, and this was an actual country profile. Now, people will look at this screen, and they'll say, well, this is General Post Office LDC. See, I told you it was a corporation. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. We had claimed the original General Post Office of 1775, and later on, we created a General Post Office LDC in Belize. There's nothing wrong with that. We didn't break any laws. It's called a limited duration corporation. We weren't standing on it as our claim. However, it was a recognized entity or business entity, and so we used that entity to get the Reign of the Heavens profile put together. That's all we did. We didn't use the original General Post Office to do this. So there's two separate, it was just in some places they'll call it a franchise or whatever, but we couldn't establish the original General Post Office in Belize, and we wanted to make it to where the original General Post Office could go across international lines and international boundaries to make it international again. And to get it qualified for today, not what happened back then in 1775. So that people will see that and go, oh, it's a fraud. Well, it's a half truth that you're talking about because you don't know the rest of the story. We still had the original General Post Office of 1775. We just created another one. We had the right to do that. We didn't do anything wrong, and it wasn't nefarious. And we used it to get the Reign of the Heavens recognized at the Bureau. It's the Bureau on Private International Law at The Hague. And all we did was we sent it there for a record. We weren't asking anything from them. It was just a matter of record. That was it. Nothing wrong with that. So here's the anointed ruler right here. That does not say Keith. So we know for a fact that Stephen, Derek Biachi, and David Williams are throwing out complete half-truths and bold-faced lies on Facebook. So let's go back to this next one. Okay, please understand, this isn't a separate thing. Please understand that the facts of the words United States of America are not protected property. They are not copyrighted, not patented. Well, actually, that's not true, because this is the original, this is the 1789 company that was started back in 1787, and it is copyrighted. It's not copyrighted by us, it's copyrighted. And if you don't believe me, go ask the guy that was doing the Liberty Dollars and ask him about the 45 years he got for copyright violations putting the Statue of Liberty on his coin. Then they said, as a result, there are now over 300 different entities calling themselves some version of the United States or United States of America. These are legal fictions and not sovereign powers or governments. True. That part's true. But this part's false. That's a half-truth. Okay? When the United States of America, Inc. went bankrupt, Keith says he went to the bankruptcy sale and bought the office of Postmaster General via claim and abandonment. So there's a half a truth. This never happened. I never said that. That was completely made up. Because at this time, the individual that was claiming this was saying that there was a bankruptcy sale back in the 80s. And then when I came out and says, how could that be? I was in high school at the time, 16, 17 years old. How could I have bought something at a bankruptcy sale? And by the way, where the hell is this bankruptcy sale? When did this happen? There's no record of it. It's just a blatant lie. And then when that came up, she comes back and says, well, it was in 2010 when it happened. Oh, okay. All right. We get what's going on here. All right. This is the same as buying a brand name or .com. However, there's never been any proof the transaction of this transaction offered, only his word that it was done. I never said that. Is Yahweh as my witness? I never claimed this. This was a complete surprise to me. So, another bold-faced BS. Keith claims to be Postmaster General of another corporate fiction that never existed prior to the Civil War. No. What I had claimed was to be the successor to Ebenezer Hazard, the last Postmaster General of the Confederacy of 1781, of the original General Post Office. And actually, I didn't claim it. I was appointed by the National Assembly. I even asked, does anybody else want this? Do you remember that, John?
Yes, I do. And Ebenezer Hatter died in 1817 without appointing a successor.
Right.
And that office is by succession.
So I didn't, yeah, and so that's what was claimed. And I even asked if somebody else wanted it, and they said no. They said, you're probably the most qualified to hold that office, so just go ahead and we're going to appoint you. I said, okay, I'm cool with that. If that's what you got, you know, whatever fills the seat, that's fine to get this thing on the road. Okay? Another deception by a similarly named corporate fiction was never actually an office of the sovereign government, blah, 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 blah. Okay? It's all BS. Every bit of it's BS. Because no, it is, and we've said this over and over again, and we proved this in the last T-ROH show, it was the original General Post Office that we claimed. So lies upon lies upon lies and half truths and lies and shows this. We're going to do a and says, keep in mind, it's not possible to buy an actual sovereign government or any office of a sovereign government. You're absolutely, that's the truth. This is the truth here, and this is the lie. Half truth, lie. Lie. Lie, lie, lie. And then this is the truth here. No, actually, that's the lie. They're not copyrighted, not patented. Yeah, actually, they are copyrighted and patented. And this is the truth. As a result, 300 different calling themselves the United States of America. Okay, so here's the truth, here's the lie. And this one here, bold-faced lie. And you know why these guys do this? They put this out there is because they know you're not going to go read what I just showed you as far as the profile is concerned. You're going to take their word for it to a certain extent. That they're not lying, because it sounds good when they're doing it. And whatever sounds good, people just go with. Okay, now, the following is not a joke. This actually happened. Okay, so this was my listing. I never denied this, and I've talked about this a bunch of times. It says on November 2nd, 2011, the head of government, Sir Lee Busey, administered the affirmation to Keith Edward Livingway Livernois for King of England, France, Italy, and Her Majesty King or Queen Winona Mazarko witnessing. Okay, now I'm going to tell you what happened. This was over a 3-day period. Now, this is what I did. Now, if you just read the rest, you'll see what was going on. The true heir to the throne of England, France, and Italy, King Edward shall serve this republic form of government that he has promised to execute. And well, I don't want to bring this one. This was there's the whole other story, and it was a fraud. She was a fraud. So, blah blah blah. Equally through Yahweh our Elohim, the affirmation is recorded the same and posted on the following link for the next 7 days before it expires. Please listen, celebrate, spread, blah blah blah. Okay. Now, this was done on the 11th, November 2nd, and November 5th, guess what happened? It was renounced. See, that part was never brought up. What they did is try to say, he actually considers himself royal exalted ruler of all. That's half the truth. Okay, that's the lie. Right here, I never said that. He actually considers himself the royal exalted ruler of all. Well, that's a lie. Okay, I'm going to tell you why. Because what monarch tells you that they're going to serve a republic form of government, which completely destroys their own crown and their own titles? Completely destroys it. I even had a lawyer come back and say, there was a lawyer that looked at this and he made some comment, and he says, look how stupid he is. It's a king that he's trying to say he's going to serve a republic form of government. And then he's trying to make fun of that. And he says, that destroys his own titles. And then my return rebuttal would be, duh. You see what I was trying to do? What I was trying to do is I found out in my bloodline that King Philip is in my bloodline, and he was the king. I can't remember which one it was, but the King of England, France, and Italy. So and it's a different bloodline from the actual queen that was over there. Well, back then, at this time, in around 2011, it was widely believed that the Queen of England and the monarch was the one that was giving us all this trouble. We didn't know about any of this other stuff. So I said, well, if I can do this, if I can jump in front and then just say that to serve a republic form of government, and then I renounce in 3 days, maybe that will give the people their property back, and myself and everybody else. And she won't have any claims on it. It'll block her. That's the rest of it. Here's even more truth that you're not being told. Okay, let me find. This is what they call the rest of the story. Okay, now okay, this is the rest of the story. The three royal crowns claimed in place in this trust, known as the Crown of France, Italy, and England, of a different bloodline than those of present day. It was given to a trust. I didn't keep them. Then later on, what happened was there was a guy down in Australia that was that came forward. Somebody brought him forward and said, "Hey, you guys are the real heirs to the throne of England." That's what they were claiming. So I tried to get a hold of the guy and say, "Here, I've got them. You want them? You can have them." And later on, he was murdered. Had nothing to do with me killing him.
Yeah, he actually refused. He said he didn't want no part of it because he wasn't trained to be the leader of the people.
Right. And as you can see, folks, I didn't either. Didn't really want anything to do with it because I don't believe in all that, the crowns and all that stuff. And here's some of the rest of the property. And then if you look, it says New Jerusalem World Trustee. This is an old trustee. And it was sent to the Bureau of International Business at The Hague by email. We sent it there and hard copy. It says the New Jerusalem World Trust is doing business as the government of the United States of America, the original Confederacy of 1781, as amended on September 5th, 2012. Okay? Now they're going to come back and say, see, I told you it was a trust. I told you there were trustees. Blah, blah, blah. Look at the date, folks. It's 2012. We hadn't had our first elections yet. Our first elections were in 2013. So we were holding the original Articles of Confederation in trust after the claim was made. And after we did the amending on September 5th, 2012, we were holding it in trust until the first election. So the office holders that you have in there are official government office holders. When the first elections came, there was a transfer over to the North American National Party and the political party and to the people that were doing the voting and all that. So they could all each have a part of it. So you see, folks, half truths. This whole trust right here has been moved over, all the property, except for this right here, has been transferred over to the ROH Trust, and the office holders are trustees of that trust, but they don't operate in that official capacity. It's just holding property. I mean, when they're doing their office holding, they're not trustees. Okay, so they're actual office holders, but they do have access to the ROH Trust is holding a lot of intellectual property. Original rural free delivery routes and meets and bounds and seaward boundaries of the United States of America. That's over to the General Post Office now after the elections. There's all kinds of stuff in here. It goes on and on and on. Okay. So even General Post Office LDC, right there. Okay. So this information. This was sent over to the Bureau of International Business at The Hague, and they know about it, and they know how we operate, and others know how we operate. It's just people that want to do nefarious things, like lie about stuff and show half truths and all this to try to discredit. They weren't there. They have no idea what it was like between the ninth year, the 10th year, the 11th year, and the 12th year, trying to get this 2009 through 2012, trying to get this thing on the road and get it moving to where people could get their, make their claim and get their nationalities and everything else. You have no idea, especially Biachi in Williams, you guys would have cried like girls on the stuff that we went through. It was a daily grind of pure hell. We were working 16 to 18-hour days, no pay, at the expense of our families and everything else to get this done. John, you remember.
Yes, I do. I just started to say, a trust is no more than, it's just like a bank. You put your money in the bank, they hold it in trust until you go back and either need it or want it. And that's basically what a trust is, and that's where the crowns are. That's where a lot of other stuff is. And that's what we're trying to tell you is a half truth. There's actually no truth at all. You have to have both sides before you have a truth. Go ahead, Keith.
Right. And we were not doing it for everybody. We were doing it for ourselves also. So it's not like we were out there trying to be martyrs for people. We were also doing it for ourselves because I didn't want to live under that crap. You have to understand, at that time was the height of the power of SPLC, Hillary Clinton, Barry Soetoro, all those communist fascists and everything else, racists and everything. They were telling everybody was a racist to them. They were attacking people left and right. And a lot of it turned around when we established the Human Rights Tribunal. It started turning around. Because we started getting the idea and understood what the Human Rights Tribunal and the human rights were all about, and it started actually reversing what was happening. So Williams and what was his name?
Steve.
You guys, you didn't go through any pain to get this done. You didn't go through crap. Nothing. You had it easy. Everything was done for you. And neither one of you guys have any right whatsoever to come in and join up with Anna and everybody else, and we're going to take the ANU down. We got you on record saying that. You have no idea what we went through and what we knew back then. You didn't go through 9 months of stalking, gang stalking by cops. You didn't go through any of that, the stuff that we were going through. And being accused of everything in the book. And having, military sending people over, trying to delay us, promising us stuff and all this other crap that was going on. It was day after day after day of grind, 16 to 18 hours a day.
Taking your lunch money to buy domains, put it on the web.
Yep. And then learning how websites work. Self-taught to build websites and Joomla and WordPress and all that. All those things, so we didn't have to pay somebody $150 an hour to get it done. To get whatever we had to do done. You didn't earn any of that. And you took a simple gift out of the kindness of our hearts and weren't asking anything from you. Weren't asking for money. Weren't asking for anything. Just do something for your country. For the American National Union. And for your states. And at least get off your dead ass and assemble.
And people actually have lost their families for staying with us and doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Their families up and left them because they were spending too much time trying to get this straightened out so you would have someplace to go.
Yeah. And we're not asking for allegiance from anybody. We're not asking from anything from anybody. At least have the common decency as men to try to help your own country and help yourselves instead of turning around and calling the ANU a fraud and the government of the United States of America the fraud, and then putting out half-truths about me personally, when both of you never earned a thing.
Well, I couldn't put a half-truth about you. It's half-truth about the entire government.
Yeah.
Because the assembly is the one that approved it. And if it wasn't approved by the assembly with no objection at all, it didn't progress.
And there are a lot of good people here in this government. There's a lot of good people that have signed the social compact way back when, in the beginning. And you're disrespecting every one of those people that spend their days trying to get your person away from the very people that have been oppressing you. And we're trying to get you over to the states of the union so you can start your own assemblies and start having a little respect, because nobody respects that, okay? Getting a little respect and putting in the work and everything it takes to be free. All you've done is dishonored yourselves, your families, everything. Everything about you is in dishonor. And it's sad, really, because it's nothing more than juvenile high school crap. And you and a bunch of other people need to grow the hell up and start appreciating some things and sacrifices that people make to make this country better for the next generation. Because you're doing nothing but making this generation look like total dog shit. Which means the next generation is going to be cussing you and saying, you idiots, what the hell were you doing? Now look what the problems we've got. Because you're too busy worried about yourselves and not your country. No one has any idea what happened back then, except for the people that went through it with us. And every one of those people have earned their place. They've earned their general postmaster. They've earned their respect. We've had one guy that's been here since the beginning that we were trying to free his wife from an old folks home that she was kidnapped to. And she ends up getting murdered over in Oregon. And guess what? He's still here. He's paid his price. He's paid his dues. And there are plenty of others that have paid their dues here. Plenty of others. Our registrar pays her dues every day, has earned her way here. And so is the treasurer. And so is the Secretary of State. So is the governor. And every general postmaster has earned their way here. You earn your way in this life. Nothing's given to you. And you've got people that are trying to stop it. And now you guys have joined them. They're trying to stop the states of the union from coming together. That's treason, boys. Because both of you have oaths. And they're trying to stop the inheritance and the people coming back. We connected this to the reign of the heavens. We connected the government of the United States of America to the reign of the heavens through reciprocity, even though it's in a trust, that takes your bloodlines all the way back and your inheritance all the way back to Adam and Eve through the reign of the heavens. The powers that be know this. They know what's going on. They're not stupid because they don't sit there and believe in half-truths. They make sure they get all the information. We've seen them do it 100 times. And that's what happens, okay, when you grow up. So you've got the, and this was done not by me. This wasn't done by John. This wasn't done by any of the general postmasters or office holders. This was done by Yahushua, because there is no way any of this would have happened if it wasn't for Yahushua, the anointed ruler of the reign of the heavens. And to try to set me up as some kind of antichrist, shame on you. Shame on you.
I thought the Pope had a monopoly on that.
Yeah, he does. And then try to set this government up as some kind of domestic terrorist group? Shame on you.
If we'd have been declared or posted accused of being a domestic terrorist, we'd have been locked up and tried a long time ago.
Long time ago.
Especially with some of the stuff we put out there and the people we put it out against. There's got to be pretty close to correct. Though I will admit we've had to go back and correct some mistakes too.
Yeah, we've had to fix things. There were typos or something was missing and all that, but look at all the damn documents. You're bound to have something in there.
Well, every time we found new evidence, we had to go back and correct the record.
Yep.
Bring it forward. This is new evidence. And even in the court, you're allowed to bring in new evidence while the trial's still going on. And this is a trial, whether you realize it or not. It's us against them. And it's back and forth. We have to present the evidence and do it in a correct manner, or they will have us locked up. And so far, we've been lucky enough or correct enough to where we hadn't gone that way yet.
Yeah, you know, how many people come up to us and try to get us to break the law, try to get us to get involved in some kind of theft thing, try to get us to get involved in some kind of other thing that's going on, some scam or scheme and all this kind of crap. Happens all the time. Nope, 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 don't want to get involved in that. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Happens all the time. But we don't get involved in that stuff. I've got no time. I get nothing here, and I've got no time to get up in the morning and see how, how can we get something out of somebody here and lie to them? I don't get into all that mess. Do you really think that we would have people? Now, this is questioning the character of all the general postmasters. That if I was running some kind of scam, that at least one or two of them would come forward and say, hey, I caught Keith doing this or caught Keith doing that. You think John would be involved with somebody that's committing a scam, or Tom, or the registrar, or the treasurer?
Not me, because I'd call you out in a heartbeat.
So, yeah, folks, I'm not asking you to believe in me. I'm not doing that. You need to believe in Yahushua and Yahweh. That's where your trust needs to be. That's my opinion. Okay? And I'm not asking anybody to follow me, because I'm following Yahushua and Yahweh.
Keith, when you put something in writing, you put it in the archives and to build a government, and come to find out 2 years later that it was supposed to be done, that wasn't done by me, and that wasn't done by you.
That's right.
There was somebody with a bigger hand than ours guiding.
Yeah, I mean, there were some things that happened we can't even explain of how that happened. It just fell in our lap and we did it. We did it without question, without anything. And then later on, find out we were right. We threw it out there and it happened. It's the Most High that's got your back here. Not Keith, not John. We're following him. And if you were following him, you wouldn't be putting out these half-truths and these lies. But you're not following him. You need to get right with him. You don't need to get right with me. You don't need to get right with the government. You don't even need to get right with the reign of the heavens. You need to get right with the Most High. Because you guys are doing some nefarious crap, man. This nefarious means evil. Y'all are doing some evil things. And you're hurting some really good people. And if you don't think that crap's going to come back on you, you got another thing coming. So at any rate, you think we've talked about this enough, John?
Yes, I think we pretty much covered it. Unless
All right.
Johnny's got something to say.
And y'all need to stop sending Johnny Rowe nasty ass emails too. Trying to cut him down, trying to gaslight him and everything else. You need to leave PAGs alone.
Johnny didn't do it. He just helped do it.
Yeah. He was an essential part in a couple of things. He had his role to play. I have my role to play. John had his role to play. Every one of these people, all the postmasters that we've got, general postmasters, they had their role to play. They were all a part of it. This is a team effort. I deal with people, and I have a social compact with people that hate to be told what to do. Now, for anybody with common sense would know that any kind of dictator can't exist when you have people that you're with that don't like to be told what to do. We all work together as a team. I make suggestions. John will make suggestions. I go to John. Hey, what do you think of this? Sometimes I'll go to Tom. Sometimes I go to the treasurer, Tony. I'll make suggestions to the registrar. Hey, can we make this better or do this better or this, and all this stuff. They do the same thing. We all work together as a team, guys. There's no dictatorship going on here. And each and every one of them are just as responsible for what we're doing as I am. I just get thrown out on the T-ROH. I get put out front because I know how to explain things. It's a talent. It's what I do. I can explain things and make it easier for people to understand the whole picture of what's happening. So I do my part. They do their part. Everybody has their part. And their job and their talents, and we bring those talents forward and say, okay, you can do this, this, and this. And every bit of it works together. And I'm telling you, and I'm telling the rest of the country, if you guys can't get it together, you're going to fall.
I can agree with that.
You're going to destroy yourselves.
Yep.
We should have every group out there working with us. The PAG saw the light and said, yeah, we all need to work together. We don't tell Johnny Rowe what to do. He runs his own thing. He comes to us for advice. We go to him for advice. We all work together. And because of that, his reputation is better. Everything's changing. Our reputation is better. And we're not here to tell you what to do. We're just here to say, here, this is how it's done. because this is what we learned. And we push people away constantly that are trying to make us their leaders. We're trying to get them to lead themselves. Follow the Most High. He'll show you the way. Turn to Him, and He'll show you the way. And we'll work with you. We're not going to work over you. We're going to work with you. We were initially attacked by Anna for no reason whatsoever. Didn't do a thing to her. Nothing. And caused this big mess in a fight. We were just moving along just like anything else. Going along, trying to get everything set up right, doing everything at the time. Now it is set up right. And all we're doing is fine-tuning some of the things that we need to get done to make it even better and better. We've got all kinds of things that are happening that we're not saying about. We're not saying anything about it. We don't sit there and brag about the successes and all these things. That's ego. That's pride. You don't want to get in all that. We just move on. Just keep going. And if that's an example that you can aspire to, please do so. Quit being so stubborn. All those groups need to come together, not the expense of one or anybody else. If they don't come together, you all are gone, man. You're going to be going to the FEMA hotel.
Guantanamo bound.
Yep. Or the FEMA hotel. They can go there. They get themselves a little mark on them, and then they can go ahead and they'll make good citizens out of you. Trust me. After a few water boards and electrical shocks, you'll be a good citizen. Yes, sir. In a heartbeat. Anything you say, sir. That's how they handle it. We're trying to do it by choice. In other words, you have a choice. You can either get it together or fail. It's that simple. Get it together or fail. We're trying to get all of the infiltrators and everybody away from you so you can think, learn, and get things on the road. People that are agitating the crap out of you. We're trying to do that. Let us do what we do. Thanks for listening to the 11th broadcast of special edition, 11th special edition of the T-ROH show. We'll talk to you in the normal recording time. Would it be Saturday night? Thanks for listening.